What if the most powerful man in the free world had once sworn loyalty to Hitler? What if the smiling face in old campaign posters hid a past soaked in blood? This isn't fiction. This man came within inches of becoming President of the United States, and almost no one remembers his name. This is the forgotten story of the Nazi who almost ruled America. The end of World War II didn't kill fascism. It buried it. In the ashes of Berlin, amid shattered Nazi dreams, a new war began, a quiet war. While the world celebrated victory, the US government was making deals, dark ones. Through Operation Paperclip, over 1,600 Nazi scientists and officers were secretly brought to America. They were given new names, fresh passports, and clean reputation. The Cold War was brewing, and in the name of fighting communism, America embraced former enemies. Men who had built bombs for Hitler, men who had sworn loyalty to the Third Reich. One of them didn't just settle down quietly. He rose fast and almost walked into the Oval Office. His name, or the one he used, was Kurt Wilhelm Hansen. Born in Hamburg, Germany, 1917. By 1939, he was a propaganda officer under Joseph Goebbels, specializing in psychological warfare. Kurt wasn't just a soldier, he was a manipulator. He understood how to turn fear into loyalty, lies into truth. By 1943, he was running radio deception campaigns to confuse Allied troops. After the war, he should have been tried at Nuremberg. Instead, he disappeared. With forged papers and a false identity, Kurt became Karl W. Hansen, an immigrant fleeing Soviet persecution. Fluent in English, charming, and well-spoken, he arrived in America in 1948. By 1951, he had a job at a local news station in St. Louis, and within 3 years, he was hosting his own political talk show, a Nazi propagandist, now speaking directly to American homes. 1,950 as America was gripped by fear. Fear of communism, fear of infiltration, fear of nuclear war. Karl W. Hansen, aka Kurt, knew how to weaponize fear. His show, America Stands Guard, warned viewers of communist sleeper cells in their neighborhoods, Soviet agents in universities, and the decay of traditional values. But he didn't just talk. He ran for office, first as a city councilman in 1956, then as a state senator in 1960, and by 1964, he announced something unthinkable. If called by the people, I will serve as their president. The media laughed, but voters didn't. In conservative Midwestern states, Hansen's approval soared. He was seen as bold, patriotic, fearless, a true American. No one questioned his past because no one knew it. In 1965, a quiet librarian in Maryland stumbled onto something strange. A rare German-language newspaper from 1944 featured a smiling photo of Kurt Hansen, captioned as a hero of the Reich's information war. She thought the resemblance to Karl Hansen was uncanny, but when she wrote to the FBI, they dismissed it. Why? Because Hansen was already part of Operation Gladio, an off-the-books Cold War operation involving ex-Nazis, the CIA, and European right-wing militias. He wasn't just protected, he was valuable, and too dangerous to expose. Even within the government, only a few suspected the truth. One of them, Agent Robert Marlowe, opened a personal investigation, and what he found was chilling. Hansen had met privately with former SS officers in Argentina. He received unexplained funds from a Swiss account linked to Nazi gold, and in one recorded conversation he said, "Democracy is just a waiting room. History always returns to order." By 1968, Karl Hansen was a household name. He didn't run as a mainstream Republican or Democrat. He founded the American Heritage Party, attracting veterans, businessmen, and white suburban voters angry at the civil rights movement and the Vietnam War. His slogan, "Make America Proud Again." He spoke in stadiums. He wore red ties and condemned suits. He kissed babies and condemned corruption in Washington. And always, he warned of foreign ideologies poisoning the nation. In early polls, Hansen hovered at 14%, more than enough to influence a national election. He was gaining ground, and the world didn't know he was a former Nazi propagandist with direct ties to Hitler's inner circle. These secrets don't stay buried forever. In 1969, an Italian journalist named Marco Zarelli published a damning exposé titled "The American Candidate with a Nazi Past." Zarelli had obtained wartime documents from German archives that tied Carl Hansen to Kurt Hansen directly. Side-by-side photos, voice analysis, military records, all lined up. The article gained traction in Europe, but in the US, mainstream media buried it. Hansen dismissed it as Soviet disinformation. His supporters believed him. He accused his enemies of being part of the machine. But behind closed doors, panic spread. FBI agent Marlowe's report reached top brass, and though no charges were ever filed, a message was passed down quietly. Hansen must not be allowed near the presidency. In the 1972 primaries, his campaign was suddenly hit by anonymous allegations of fraud. Donors vanished, events were canceled, TV stations pulled his ads. By 1973, he disappeared from public life. No resignation, no press conference, just silence. Carl Hansen, or Kurt Hansen, was never arrested, he was never tried, and to this day, no public record confirms his death. In 1987, a tourist in Paraguay claimed to have seen him, older, bald, and laughing at a bar. In 1993, a German declassified document listed a Hansen KW as part of a Cold War safehouse network in Brazil. Whether he died peacefully or still lives under a new name remains a mystery. But his legacy is more dangerous than his life, because Carl Hansen showed the world something terrifying. A man with a monstrous past can put on a suit, smile for the camera, and almost become leader of the free world. In 2016, a U.S. senator commissioned a private investigation into foreign influence operations during the Cold War. One obscure footnote in that 800-page report reads, Subject H, previously embedded in American broadcast media, maintained personal correspondence with over 24 elected officials between 1958-1970. Subject believed democratic systems were tools to be used, not beliefs to be held. Who was Subject H? A later version of the document, heavily redacted, shows the alias. Carl W. Hansen. Yes, even after his fall from public view, he still held influence, still wrote letters, still whispered in the ears of power. How many others like him survived the war? How many helped shape the country behind curtains and clean names? We'll never know, because history doesn't always bury its monsters. Sometimes it hires them. If this story unsettled you, it should, because it isn't just history. It's a warning. How well do we really know the people who lead us? And how many truths have we chosen to forget? Subscribe for more stories like this, the ones they tried to erase. And tell us in the comments, do you believe others like Hansen still exist in modern politics? Stay awake, stay questioning. This is Forgotten Diaries.